We are right on the edge of creating what could be the most powerful technology in all of human history, superintelligence. And right now, there's a high-stakes race to build it. But as this blueprint for our future is being drawn up, a really critical question is looming over everything. Who actually gets a seat at the table? And maybe more importantly, who's being left behind?
So, first things first, let's get on the same page about what we even mean by superintelligence or SI. Look, this isn't just a slightly smarter version of the AI on your phone. We're talking about an artificial intellect that will be so much more capable than the most brilliant human mind you can think of, in pretty much every field imaginable, from quantum physics to writing symphonies. And make no mistake, the race to build this thing is on. It is an incredibly intense, high-stakes competition. You've got tech giants like OpenAI and Meta openly pouring billions and billions of dollars into this goal. Whoever crosses that finish line first, they don't just win a prize. They could literally redefine the entire global balance of power.
Which brings us right to the heart of the issue. As the plans for this world-changing technology are being made right now, who is actually in the room? Whose voice is being heard in this incredibly critical conversation? And that leads us to the core problem, a problem highlighted by analyst Ibrahim Idris. There is a huge, crucial perspective that's almost entirely missing from this global debate, a voice that represents well over 1 billion people. This quote from our source material, it just cuts right to the chase. This isn't just a guess or a feeling, it's a confirmed absence. What that means is that in the global conversation about our collective future, the voices of an entire continent's scientists and institutions, well, they're just not being heard. And if you look at the state of the debate, you see the problem is even deeper. It's not just that representation is low. The exclusion is so total that there's basically no data to even look at. The conversation is so dominated by Western players that according to our source, the involvement of African experts is, for all intents and purposes, invisible. And that right there is the emergency we need to talk about.
Yeah, it's an emergency because the window to actually join this conversation is closing, and it's closing fast. This isn't some problem for the distant future. The potential timelines make this a crisis for right now. The predictions for when AGI will arrive are kind of all over the map. OpenAI's Sam Altman thinks it could be as soon as 2030. The famous futurist Ray Kurzweil, he points to 2047. And then you've got others who think it's still a century away. But here's the thing, the exact date doesn't really matter. The fact that it could be soon means the time to act is now. Waiting is a risk that, frankly, we just can't afford.
And what that means is that the fundamental rules for the most powerful technology in history are being written today. The international treaties, the regulations, they're all being debated in rooms where key voices are missing. And if you're not at the table when the rulebook is written, well, you're going to be forced to play by someone else's rules. It's as simple as that. Okay, so what's really at stake here? The consequences of being left out are massive. We're talking about 2 completely different potential futures for an entire continent. And this really illustrates the 2 paths perfectly. On one side, you have a future of exclusion, a future where Africa is forced to follow global rules it had no say in writing, rules that could even include things like international bans or sanctions, like monitoring computer chips, which would effectively lock the continent out. But on the other side, a future of inclusion, one where African nations help shape policy, make sure they share in the benefits, and actually use this technology to solve their own unique challenges. And the rewards of that inclusion, they're almost hard to imagine. Our source calls SI a potential ultimate solution, a technology that could help us finally crack humanity's biggest challenges, from wiping out diseases to maybe even reversing climate change. That's why making sure everyone has access isn't just about being fair, it's a global necessity.
So, how do we get there? How do we move from a future of exclusion to one of inclusion? Well, the source material doesn't just point out the problem. It lays out a clear, actionable strategy for empowerment.
And the whole strategy kicks off with this really powerful idea: galvanize efforts. This is a call for African experts across every single field, tech, policy, academia, business, you name it, to unite. This isn't a job for just one person or one group. It has to be a coordinated, continent-wide mobilization. So the strategy really breaks down into 2 clear steps. Step 1, mobilization. Unite the experts and work through established bodies like the African Union to create a single, powerful, unified voice. And then, step 2,
Use that voice to actively engage in the global policy debate, making sure that any new international laws or treaties actually reflect African realities and interests.
When you boil it all down, this whole thing is about a fundamental shift. A shift in mindset and a shift in action, moving from the sidelines right into the center of the playing field. Ultimately, this is the pivot that has to happen. It's a shift from just passively watching the debate unfold in other parts of the world to becoming active, unified participants who are actually helping shape the outcome. That's the core call to action here, to claim a seat at the table before all the decisions are made and the future is set in stone. And that really leaves us with a final thought. This isn't just about one technology or one continent. It forces all of us to ask a much, much bigger question. As we build the most powerful tools in human history, what does a future where everyone has a voice and a real stake in the outcome truly look like?